This is Gemara Yoma Daf Piches, the final daf of this fabulous and amazing Masechta. Today's daf is a very, very special sponsorship. It has been anonymously sponsored for the entire Chabura in honor of the SIYUM. Emir Hashem and Emir Hashem, we should all continue learning many more Masechtas together, and we'll get the full bracha Emir Hashem when we finish. Of course, let's not forget our Chilin Man Vavek Chaim Mesasham Sim Reizas Har Bas Kanendol. Ita Vasim As Chaysa Yisol Medela President Leim Shom Mas Nami Shavik Shachana from Obantila. Tinem Khan Rizul Chayv Sin the bracha was Musadin and Emission Minas Vim Vegura. Bechlas Ven Nazil Hu Rivka was the Shem and tells you Mechel Esther. We're holding on. We pulled up a little bit short, as you can see, because it's only really one amud for today. Says the Gemara, we're 6-7 lines from the wide lines. Tanan Hasam, we learned over there. We're about to embark on a discussion about Ne'ilah, the closing of Yom Kippur, as we close Masechtas Yoma. Says the Gemara, Tanan Hasam, we learned over there. Bishleisha Parakim 3 times in the year. Bishana of the year. Kahanim Noisin Iskapayim. Kahanim Dochin, how many times? Arba, Pamim Bayayim, and of course anyone in Yerushalayim, hopefully will all be there. This is of course what is done every single year. 4 times in a day. What are those times? B'Shachris Musaf b'Mincha u'b'Ne'ilah Sha'arim. Shachris Musaf Mincha and by Ne'ilah the 4 times Yidochin. Ve'eluhein Shleisha Prakim. And what are the 3 times that we dochin 4 times? B'Tainis u'b'Mayamad u'b'Ma'amadis, u'b'Yom Kippurim. Of course, the first 2 are not really relevant anymore because we don't have such community Tainesim like discussed in Gemara and Tainis. We don't have the Maimadais, which are the different groups of Yisraelim that they would come together and daven when the Kehanim were bringing their Karbanos. But of course, we have Yom Kippur, and on Yom Kippur, the Kehanim dochin 4 times, Shachris, Musa, Mincha, and Ne'ilah Sha'arim. And of course, the halacha is known that this is the reason why Ne'ilah in Eretz Yisrael has to end earlier, because dochning can't be at night. And therefore, the dochning portion, the dochning of the Ne'ilah of the Chazar Tashatz has to be before Shkia. Says the Gemara, my Ne'ilah Sha'arim, what is this lashon, what is this wording of the closing of the gates? Rav Amar Rav says, Silusa Yitzerta. You know what it refers to? It refers to an extra Shemayna Esrei, and the extra time that we daven in the silent Shemayna Esrei. Ushmol Amar, and Shmuel says, no, it doesn't refer to Shemayna Esrei. You know what it refers to? Me'anu Mechayenu. The paragraph that we see at the end, Me'anu, what are you? Mechayenu, what is our life? But says Shmuel, there is no extra Shemona Esrei, there is no 4th Shemona Esrei in Yom Kippur. The opinion of Shmuel. Meisvei, the Gemara is not happy with that. Meisvei asked the Gemara on Shmuel, on the first medium-sized line, are Yom Kippurim, Yom Kippur at night, Mitzvah al-Sheva, Mitzvah Adeh, we have 7 tefillos. 7 brachos. Mitzvah, we say vidui. B'shachris in the morning, Mazel Tov To All, Mitzvah, 7 brachos and vidui. B'mosaf Mazel Tov To All, Mitzvah, 7 and vidui. B'mincha Mazel Tov To All. On mincha we have the same 7 u'mizvah. And of course, here is the crucial ingredient. B'ne'ilah Mitzvah Sheva u'mizvah. Says the Bryce on Ne'ilah you have 7 brachos, meaning you have an Amida, meaning you have a Shemoneh Esrei. Shmuel just said, no, there's no Shemoneh Esrei. How can that be? There's a Brisa that explicitly says that there is a Shemoneh Esrei on Yom Kippur. Says the Gemara, Tanai. So the first attempt that the Gemara tries to say is Tanai. Now I say first attempt, that's not really so accurate. Because as you see before this word Tanai, there's a bunch of letters, a Beis and Aleph. So that Aleph really points here on the side, which it says that we should take out this whole line. Etc. And therefore, the more accepted girsa is that we're going to take out this whole Tanai. We're going to take out that the Gemara is suggesting that it's a machlekes Tanaim. This whole line, Tanai, we're going to pick it up, and that's where the girsa picks up. So again, so what did the Brisa say? We're in the middle of a Brisa. The Brisa says, Mi'ila misal sheva misvada. It's a beautiful sentence. So again, the end of that sentence we're erasing for the moment. We're not erasing it. The Girsa erases it. And we conclude with vidoy. Again, this is, we're up to now the final tefillah of the Ne'ilah, and it's saying we conclude with Chaysim Bevidoy. Divrei Rameir, that's Rameir. V'chachamim ma'imrim mispalel shava v'imrot alachta bevidoy Chaysim. If you want to say vidoy, you're allowed to say vidoy. So the Chachamim and Rameir, we're having a bit of a sidebar machlekes over here with regard to the vidoy, which is it a separate bracha? Is it a separate part of the Shemoneh Esrei? But what do we see according to everyone, like we just spoke out? Everyone holds it is a Shemoneh Esrei, it is an Amida during Ne'ilah, says the Gemara. Tiyufta, Shmuel Tiyufta. Of course, we know that the word Tiyufta means there is no answer, there is no shot of Shmuel at the end of the day, and we are concluding that, of course, which is what we do, there is a Shemona Esrei by Ne'ilah. Says the Gemara, a bit of a story, 3 lines into the white lines, Beizayid Amid Beiz. Ula Bara Nochas coming the Rava came in front of Rava Pasach V'ata V'chartanu. He began the bracha, he began the middle bracha of Ne'ilah with Ata V'chartanu, V'sayim, and he finished that bracha B'manu Mechayinu, and he finished with that additional point of Manu Mechayinu, which was what Shmuel said, but he incorporated it into the Tefillah, V'shavchei, and he got praise for the wonderful. Rava said that is the correct way of doing it. We incorporate it into our Shemona Esrei. Rav Huna Breder Rav Nasan points out V'yachid Oimra Achar Tfilasai. A Yachid, it says Manu Mechayinu. It's at the end of the Shemona Esrei, which of course is what we do. Rav says Rav Tilas Nila Paitares Eshalarvis. Says Rav, a startling statement. The Ne'ilah Paters Ma'iriv. You have an Ne'ilah, you don't have to have a Ma'iriv. I say a startling statement. We're going to deal with this for the next few minutes. Startling because we know that we're taught so many times that the first Ma'iriv, how important. Said Rav, you say Ne'ilah, no need for a Ma'iriv. Finished Elah, closed our Kodesh, Aleinu, and go home and eat. Says the Gemara, Rav L'taimei, maybe if we have a moment at the end, we'll say a beautiful pshat. I once heard on that. Let's see if we have time. Says the Gemara, Rav L'taimei, Rav goes according to his reasoning, Damar, Tzluti Yiserti. You know what Rav said? That in the Elah Paters Ma'iriv, because Rav holds the Elah is extra. So it's an extra tefillah. Once you said an extra tefillah, there's no reason to have Ma'iriv. And once you said this extra tefillah, you don't have to say another extra tefillah called Ma'iriv. Because once you said a tefillah, that is going to be Ma'iriv. Says the Gemara, 1 second. It sounds like Ma'iriv, you have to daven. But because the Ilu was extra, it took the place of Ma'iriv. Ask the Gemara, 4 lines from the bottom, Yoma Rav, does Rav really say that? Rav, halacha gedivrei oimer, tefillas arvis rishos. Rav goes with the opinion that Ma'iriv is a rishos. You don't have to daven Ma'iriv. So says the Gemara, so why Rav does he seemingly say over here that you have to have a Ma'iriv? Answers the Gemara, the first there is the Divrei Omer Chayva Kamar. He's talking to the other man, the Amar. It's true. I hold it's a Rishas, you don't have to have a Ma'iriv. But you, the Chachamim, hold it's a Chiyav. So I'm talking to you. According to you, that it's a Chiyav, but you should admit to me that by Ne'ilah you don't have to do that Chiyav of Ma'iriv. Says the Gemara, okay, nice answer, but Meisvei, let's go a little bit further. Or Yoma Kippurim, a brace that we've quoted already on Yom Kippur at night. We're 2 lines from the bottom. Mitzvah Sheva Mitzvada, Shachris Sheva Mitzvada, Musaf Sheva Mitzvada. Benila Sheva, Benila Mitzvah Sheva Mitzvada. Arvis. And this is the addition of the rice that we haven't seen until now. Arvis Visvalel Sheva Me'ein Shloina Esrei. On Arvis, the first opinion holds on Ma'iriv, you don't say a full 18 brachos, you say 7, the abridged form of Shloina Esrei. Rav Chanina ben Gamliel Misham Abayis Mizal Shloina Esrei Shleimais. You daven a full Shloina Esrei, says the Brisa. And now we turn over to the final Amud Bechesam and Aleph, says the Gemara. What's the reason why they held you have to say the full Shloina Esrei by Ma'iriv, which of course everyone realizes is very difficult according to Rav, because Rav says you don't have to daven Ma'iriv, which of course is the Gemara's question. But let's first finish the Brisa. Says the Gemara, what's the reason in they shetzarich leimer havdalah b'chayin hadas? The reason you need to have a full 18 brachos because you have to say chayin hadas at chanan tanu. You need to insert havdalah into the Shemona Esrei. So says the Gemara, Rav, you said tefillas nila paiteres as arvis, niila paters ma'iriv. It can't be. We see in a brisa that everyone holds you daven ma'iriv. Answers the Gemara, Tanohi. It is a machlekes Tanoim exactly if you need, if Ne'ilah is going to pat the Ma'iriv. And let's just hold on, it's a bit of a lengthy and elaborate raya. We're going to have a bunch of brises and we'll point out where the raya comes from, and then we'll have to finish up by tying up the loose ends in these brises. Let's see it together. Says the Gemara, the Tani, we learned in a brisa, 2 lines from the top, Echas Amid Aleph. Kol chayvei tefillas tayvlin kedarka b'yom kippurim. Seemingly random, seemingly nothing to do with Ma'iriv. Anyone who has to go to the mikvah is allowed to go to the mikvah, says the Brisa, on Yom Kippur. Nida, Yeledes, Tevelas Kedarkam, Beleli Yom Kippur. A Nida, or someone who just gave birth, could go to the mikvah Yom Kippur at night. Balkari, this is the line to hone in on. A Balkari, someone who has seminal emission, Taivel v'hoilich ad ha-mincha. Says the Tanakama, Shita number 1, a Balkari goes to mincha until mincha on Yom Kippur. Rav Yosi Omer, Kol Hayom Kuloi. A Balkari goes the entire day. So that is the point that we're discussing. The rest of the brisa is not for the moment right now, but says the brisa. When could a Balkari go to the mikvah on Yom Kippur? Tanakama until Mincha. Rav Yosi the entire day. V'reminhu, we have a stira. 6 lines down. All these different people that are tamei, toivlin kidar Yom Kippurim. So far, so good. So far, so good. The exact same thing as the first brisa. But Balkari toivav oilech kol hayoim kuloi. So now the Tanakama says Kol Yom Kulai. Let's highlight what the issue was. A moment ago, what did the Tanakama say? Ada Mincha, 5 lines down, first word on the line. Rabbi Yosi says the Gemara Until Mincha. What did Rabbi Yosi before say? Kol Yom Kulai. So we have a double steer. The Gemara is going to focus in on the steer in Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi, the first brisa said, when can the Balkari go to the mikvah? Kol Hayom Kulai, 5 lines down. What does Rabbi Yosi say in the second brisa? Until Mincha. Answers the Gemara, and this answer is going to shed light on whether one has to daven Ma'ariv if they said Ne'ilah, whether Rav is correct. Rav held Ne'ilah, Pater's Ma'ariv, you do Ne'ilah, it's finished. So let's see. It says the Gemara, Loi Kasha, Hadid Sali Tfilas Ne'ilah, Hadid Loi Sali. The difference in the two brises are going to be, according to Rav Yosi, did you say Ne'ilah? The second brise is discussing you already said Ne'ilah. Since you said Ne'ilah, therefore, once Mincha comes, you don't go to the mikvah. 1 second. You said Mincha, you said Ne'ilah, once Mincha comes, you don't go to the mikvah. What does that mean? When did you say Ne'ilah? During the day. So Rabbi Yosi, the second brisa, is holding your lad is saying Ne'ilah during the day. And therefore, it's possible you can say Ne'ilah. It's Mincha time, you already finished all your Yom Kippur tefillos, and one becomes a Balkari. What does he do? Nothing, says the second brisa. The first brisa says, no, you have to go the whole day to the mikvah. What's the reason? You did not say Ne'ilah. Why did you not say Ne'ilah according to the first brisa? Because the first brisa holds the Ne'ilah has to be said at night. Now, let's take this one step further. The Gemara continue the theme of the brisa. Now, this is the point that proves Rav. If you hold that Ne'ilah has to be said at night, like the first brisa of Rav Yosi, then Ne'ilah could pater Ma'ariv. Because Ne'ilah is at night. It paters Ma'ariv. Like Rav, and that's the raya to Rav. We said Rav is the machlekes Tanoim. The first brisa of Rav Yosi that says Ne'ilah has to be said at night is the raya to Rav. The second brisa that says that no, you could have an Ne'ilah by day, that's those who argue on Rav. They say Ne'ilah does not pater Ma'ariv. You know why? Because you're saying Ne'ilah during the day. Now we just tie up the loose ends of these brises. Says the Gemara, Idit Sali, if you already daven Ne'ilah, my time I Rabbanan. What's the reason of the Rabbanan? The Rabbanan in the second brisa said you go to the mikvah the whole day. Why are you going to the mikvah if you already said Ne'ilah? Says the Gemara, a totally different reason. And this is why we're sort of sidetracking right now. This is not going to come back around. So let's realize we answered up the machlekes and Rav. This is the difficult point. We answered up the machlekes and Rav in the first brisa, the second brisa, the two Rabbi Yosis. That's going to answer up whether Ne'ilah paters on Ma'ariv. Now we're taking a left turn. Says the Gemara, what about the Rabban? And you already daven Mincha. Why going to the mikvah the whole day? You know why? Says the Gemara, totally different reason. Because Savi Rabbanan Tefillah Bisman mitzvah. A different reason. This is a mitzvah d'oraisa to go to the mikvah on time. You got to jump in at the right time. So says the Rabbanan. What should I tell you? You daven Ne'ilah. Who cares? You got a mitzvah to go to the mikvah. Says the Gemara, really? So what does Rav Yosi hold? Rav Yosi argues on the Rabbanan. Michlal, it infers Rav Yosi Savar, la mitzvah. Rav Yosi obviously holds that it's not a mitzvah to go at time. V'atanya, now as you see, now we're taking this left turn further and further, and we're not going to come back around because we've already answered up all we need. Says the Gemara, V'atanya, how could Rav Yosi hold that Tefillah was not a lav mitzvah? We saw in a brisa. This should hopefully sound familiar as we had this where we had this on Daf Ches, the very beginning of this Masechta, some 2.5 months ago. Actually, 80 blot ago in Daf Ches. Amazing. Says the Gemara, you have a shame, someone has the shame Hashem tattooed on their flesh, you can't wash her, you can't anoint yourself, you can't stand someone dirty, because you have the shame Hashem exposed. Uh-oh. You have a tila mitzvah, you have a deraisa, you got to go into the mikvah. What do? But you have the Shem Hashem, it might get rubbed off. Says the brisa, tie something, cover it up as best as possible, then go into the mikvahs. Hopefully it won't get destroyed by the waters of the mikvah. Tanakama says. So the Tanakama says, waste time, you have to go find something to cover it up. Rabbi Yosi says, Rabbi Yosi, no. Go and jump right in. Don't rub it, but jump right in. Why did Rabbi Yosi tell you to jump right in? Don't waste time. Don't go look for a gemi. Don't go look for something to cover up the Shem Hashem. You got a mitzvah, jump in. You know why, says the Gemara? Very simply, tefillah is not a mitzvah. So we see, what does Rabbi Yosi hold? Tefillah, bizmana, mitzvah. So now we have a problem. Because we just said a moment ago that the Rabbanan hold it's a mitzvah, which infers that Rabbi Yosi hold is not a mitzvah. We just proved that Rabbi Yosi hold is yes a mitzvah. Now we have a contradiction in the opinion of Rabbi Yosi about whether tefillah, bizmana, mitzvah. Again, nothing to do with Nila, nothing to do with Meir, nothing to do with Yom Kippur. Answers the Gemara on this second issue. Please, Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda. There's two Rabbi Yosis. One is Rabbi Yosi Stam, and one is Rabbi Yosi for Rabbi Yehuda. The time is learned that a rice Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda, the tefillah could be at the last moment. So Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda is arguing on the opinion of Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a mitzvah, and that's going to be our price. It's going to be Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Yehuda, whereas the other price says it is a mitzvah. It's going to be the regular Rabbi Yosi. We answered up the opinion of Rav, based on the two ways of learning Rabbi Yosi, whether Nila could be said by day, showing it does not have to be said at night, showing it would not push away Ma'ariv, whether it could be said at night, showing it would yet push away Ma'ariv. That would be the opinion of Rav. Tano, Rabbanan, and now we have it, the final piece of Gemara of this fabulous Masechta. Says the Gemara, Tanu, Rabbanan, Haraya Kari B'Yom Kippurim. Someone, I'll say Rachmana Litzlan, but we'll see in a moment, not necessarily. Someone on Yom Kippur has an emission at night, a mission Yom Kippur. What should he do? So first we deal with the practicalities. Yorid v'tayvel. Go down, you gotta go to the mikveh, you gotta be tahar, it's Yom Kippur. Ula erev, and at night, yishav shef. You should rub yourself and make sure you have no chatzitzos, make sure you have nothing on your skin. 1 second. You go to the mikveh, and at night you rub yourself, says the Gemara, la'erev, my davi. You're worrying about chatzitzos, it's too late, you already went to the mikveh in the morning. Ela says the Gemara, mi be'erev yishav shave. Beforehand, you should rub yourself to make sure that you have nothing, no chatzitzos. Just in the event, you're going to have to go to the mikveh. Okay, beautiful. Then, which, by the way, I will point out a sidebar halacha lamaisa. The Mishnah Berurah does quote that even when men go to the mikveh on Erev Yom Kippur, they should be a little bit more makbid than chatzitzos. We know we're generally not makbid. We don't clean out our nails. We don't shave. We don't do all these things like women do. But on Erev Yom Kippur, a man should be a bit more makbid. He should cut his nails beforehand. He should, shower properly, make sure there's no tangled hairs, etc. For this very reason, because there is some element of a daraisa in that tefillah on Erev Yom Kippur. This is a little bit more of the extension. We're just pointing out that halacha is on Yom Kippur itself. Says the Gemara, Tana, Kamei de Rabbi Yochanan. I've learned it from Rabbi Yochanan. Haraya Kereb Yom Kippurim, Avoy Noisav, Mechoilin Loi. Not like we just said. We said Rahman al-Islam. It sounds like a dreadful Aveira. So he wakes up in the morning Yom Kippur and says, I saw carry a night. Says the Gemara, no, it's a beautiful thing. It shows that his Aveiras have been forgiven. Says the Gemara, we learned in a brayso avoinos of sidurim. His aveiros, our sidurim are set up. Sounds like the opposite. Sounds like it's a bad sign. Says the Gemara, my sidurin limchal. It's arranged to give him a kapara. It's a beautiful thing. Now let's see Rashi for one moment to try to figure out what in the world. Actually, we'll see 2 more lines of Gemara, and then we'll see the Rashi. Similar, you should worry. So again, on one hand, we had a brayso that says it's terrible. On the other hand, we had a brayso that it's wonderful. Rabbi Yishmael says it's terrible. You should worry the whole year. But if the whole year finishes, then you know you're a ben olam haba. So before we finish, let's see a Rashi. Rashi over here says, obviously, we're on the first line of Rashi. Rashi points out, obviously, you didn't have kavanah, you didn't try to do it. Rashi says, it's a wonderful simin. It's Hashem showing you can have children, you can have long life. The opposite. Why? We know in Yom Kippur, like we saw in the first Mishnah, one is not allowed to eat and not allowed to have any of the chamishinuyim. He's not allowed to have marital relations, which means he's not allowed to satiate his body, which having relations is the way of satiation of the body. When Hashem makes this person sikari balayla, Hashem is showing him your body is getting satiated. So that's why it's potentially a bad sign. And now Rashi points out, this is why I wanted to point this out, a bit of a hakdama to the famous Gemara in Masechta Sukkah that will start tomorrow, Masechta. Rashi says it's like a servant who brings a cup to his master. V'shaycha laikitana al panav. I think it's supposed to say pagav. I think it's supposed to say panav. And he throws a pitcher on his face. Meaning, a person is sitting there and he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to fast. He's trying to afflict his body. He's trying not to have pleasure. He's trying not to have marital relations. So what does Hashem say? Boom! Smack you in the face. Hashem says, you're going to see carry and height. A way to show that you are getting a satiation, you are getting a pleasure, not like you're trying to, because it's usher to get pleasure in Yom Kippur. So that's the counterbalance, that's the reason why it's a bad thing. But we said, then it's a wonderful thing, because then it shows that your mitzvahs were so great that you lived out the year. And it must be your abed olam haba. And says the Gemara, and with that we're going to conclude, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Teida. You know the reason why he chose your Ben Olam Haba? Because everyone's ra'iv, everyone's famished, everyone's not getting pleasure. And you're Seveah, you're full. Hashem gave you an additional pleasure. It's a good sign, but of course you have to remember that Rashi that says Shalayim Miskabin, of course. When Rav Dimi came and he said over this halacha, he said, Mapish Chaye Sagai Umaski. He's going to live long. He's going to multiply, and he's going to multiply even further. All the wonderful brachos. Of course, we always like to end the Masechta on a happy note. And we must do a chazara, thinking back all the wonderful gemaras we learned about the Avaida. Certainly have to chazar that before Yom Kippur, about the halachas of Yom Kippur, and eating and afflicting yourself. That as well. We must do a chazara. I thank you all for this wonderful journey, the last 87 days, fabulous learning together, whether it was electronically, digitally or not, but the chizuk is always there. And Amir Tashem, we should continue learning many, many more Masechtas together. We're not going to be holding our own SIYUM, but if anyone is having a SIYUM, I am in the tri-state area. It will be my pleasure to try to participate. And Amir Tashem, everyone call a friend, get someone on board for Masechta Sukkah. It's a beautiful Masechta. We're going to have amazing pictures like you've all seen. And Amir Tashem, we should continue learning many, many more Gemaras, Masechtas, and eventually all of Shas together.